Welcome back. Today's going to feel like a fairly big change because we are finally moving on from Karel. We know that this whole time we have been writing code in Java, but what we're going to see now is really going to be true Java code. Now, because we're moving on from Karel, we are no longer going to be working in the Karel BlueJ project. So you will either need to download the Java Intro 0 zip file from Schoology or from the link below in the description. I've already downloaded mine, so I'm going to go ahead and open it in BlueJ. Remember, what you're going to be downloading from online is going to be a zip file. If you double click that zip file, it'll open into a folder. You should then move that folder to somewhere on your computer that makes sense. Maybe you have an organization system for this class or something similar. And once you've done all of that, once the folder is where it needs to be, then you can open it in BlueJ. And to do that, you're going to go Project, Open Project. Then you have to find where it is on your computer. Mine is on my desktop, which is right here. It's in my SHP CSA folder, and there we go. There's my Java Intro 0 folder. And I'm going to go ahead and open this. Once we've got this folder open, we can actually close out of the Adventures of Karel program. We won't be needing that anymore. And we're going to use this project from here on out. So far, we've only seen one type of specific Java program, which has been a Karel program. Now, we're not going to be using that anymore, so what are we going to use? Well, let's start this way. Let's go New Class, which we've never done before, and you can see that there's actually a bunch of different types of programs, some of which we will not see until much later in the year, and some of which I'm going to introduce to you right now. We already know Karel program, that's all the ones that we were doing in the past few examples, but I'm going to explain to you two different programs that we're going to see throughout the next few examples. The first one is a console program. A console program is what you think of when you think of a text program on a computer. It's something that can kind of print out letters and numbers and things like that, but no formatting, no colors, no pictures, nothing like that. On the other hand, a graphics program is what you think of when you think of computer graphics. We can see shapes and colors and other things like that. So these two different programs we're going to use pretty thoroughly throughout the rest of the year, but especially in this unit. We're going to start by making a console program, and I'm going to call this program Ponies. Don't question it. Once I've made my Ponies program, let's double click to open it. And you'll see that it does look fairly similar to kind of the base Karel program. There's an extra, this thing looks a little different, some of this looks a little different. We still have our run method, and we're still going to write our code inside of our run method. So it's not all that different. I promise you'll get a better understanding of what all of these words mean as we keep going through. So you might be wondering, why did we call this program Ponies? Well, what we're about to make is going to be the world's greatest pony leg calculator. I know it's something you've always wanted. Let's do it. I'm going to start this program off a little differently than how we started a lot of our Karel programs. We're no longer in the world of Karel. There's no moves or turned lefts or anything like that. So what can I do? Well, we're going to do a bunch of Java. And to start, I'm going to do this. Now, at the beginning, I'm going to be a little heavy-handed with describing what I'm doing, but that's just because we're starting out and learning. I'm going to overemphasize a lot of stuff. So what am I actually doing here? I am declaring a variable. Now, what is a variable? I want you to think of a variable like a box. It's something that I can put some value in. That value could be a number or could be something else. When I declare a variable in Java, I have to give it a type. If you had to guess, what does int actually mean? It means integer. So I have declared a variable. The name of that variable is numponies. And what type is numponies? It's an int or an integer. Now, I've declared a variable, which means I've created that box that could hold a value, but I have not yet given it a value. So on the next line, I can do this. Now I have initialized my variable. So up here, this is declaring, which is basically creating and saying that I'm making a variable. Down here is what we call initializing. And initializing is just a fancy word for giving something a value. So what did I do? I took the box for ponies, and what did I put in that box was the number 7. Let me teach you one other Java command we can do. There's a command called println, and I'm going to do I like ponies. What will this do? Well, when I run my program, it will print out or show these words in something called the console, which I'll be able to see. These 2 lines won't show me anything. We're just doing stuff in the code in the computer. Nothing will be displayed to me, but when I do println, something will be displayed on the screen. Now let's do this. Let's do println. You have ponies. And let's put a period there. We're going to end our sentence. What am I doing now? What's being printed out? It'll say you have. Then because I have these pluses, it will treat this like a variable, which is what I want. It will look inside the box. What value do I currently have in the box? I have 7. So this will print out you have 7 ponies. Let's also do this. Let's do int num legs. Using the same terminology that I did before, what have I done in this line? I've declared a variable called numLegs, and what type is numLegs? It's an int, which means that I can set it to a value, and that value should be an integer. I can say numLegs equals numponies times 4. Assuming there hasn't been some grisly accident, every pony should have 4 legs. Then let's do this. Let's do one more. Let's println. That means you have numLegs. Very, very exciting program. I know you've always wanted to have something like this. Oops, I forgot a quotation mark here. Let's make sure we have an ending quotation mark at the very end here. So again, this program, super exciting. We have 7 ponies. How many legs should we have? If you do a little math, we should have 28 legs. Let's compile this, and I'm going to go ahead and run it. Let's see what our console program looks like. There we go. It says, I like ponies. You have 7 ponies. That means you have 28 legs. Now, this is a really great pony leg calculator, except that it assumes that I'm always going to have 7 ponies. So let's actually change this a little bit. Instead of just saying numponies equals 7, I'm going to teach you another command or another method that you can use. And that is called readInt. And I'm going to do it like this, parentheses, how many ponies? If you had to guess, what do you think readInt actually does? When I run this program, that question, how many ponies, will pop up in the console, and it will let me type in an answer, which it should be expecting a number. So if I type in 37, it's going to put 37 into the numponies box, and then it'll use that value to calculate the number of legs. So let's see what this looks like. How many ponies? Let's say I have 3 ponies. I have 3 ponies, so that means I have 12 legs. Great. Let me show you just one more thing, which is that here you can see that I declared my variable on the first line, and then I initialized it with a value on the second line. And I did the same thing here. I declared my variable on this line here and initialized it with a value down here. It's very common that you will write these 2 lines exactly one after another in that order, where you'll declare a variable and immediately in the next line you'll want to initialize it. So it's so common that Java actually created a shortcut for that. I don't have to do this in 2 lines. I can just do it in 1. So you can see this line, I've just combined the 2 lines that existed before. I'm declaring the variable on this side and also kind of initializing it on the other side here. There's one last thing I want to show you that you can do. Then we're going to add one little thing to this program in addition. You've seen the command or the method println now, but I want to show you another one, which is just called print. So I'm going to get rid of the ln on this middle one, and we're going to see what is the difference between a println and a print. So let's run this. How many ponies? Let's say I have 5 ponies now. So it says, I like ponies. You have 5 ponies. That means you have 20 legs. What's the difference now to what we had before? Well, it looks like this line, the you have however many ponies line, and the legs line are now kind of together on the same line. So what's the difference between print and println? When I do print, it just prints out something and kind of keeps the cursor on the same line, which means the next thing that I print out will print out right next to it. When I do println, it prints out what I want it to, and then it kind of hits the return or the enter key to go on to a new line at the very end. So you can see there's just a subtle difference between those two methods. Let's do one more thing here just to prove that those control structures that we learned while working with Karel still work here. Let's say if num legs, you can use is greater than 100. Let's println, that's a lot of legs. And we can compile this. We can run it. How many ponies do I have? Let's make us have a lot of legs. I have 30 ponies. Oh my gosh, I have 120 legs. That's a lot of legs. So you can see in a lot of ways what we're still doing now is pretty similar to Karel. A lot of the syntax looks very similar to what we were doing before. We're still using the same kind of logic. Next up, we're going to take a look at the other type of program I mentioned, which is a graphics program. We're going to see what that looks like.